Hey guys, thanks for coming out. Want to start by wishing our prayers and our thoughts to all those down at UVA, the victims, their families, and everybody at the university. It's a tragedy, and one that I think everybody in the football world and everyone really in the world, just a tragedy. So let's move on to our stuff here and try to help you any way I can.
Greg, I guess just looking at Penn State, I mean, what kind of stands out the most when you watch them play, especially what they're able to do on defense?
Yeah, they're a very good team. So it's not just defense; it's all three phases. Certainly, defensively, they played extremely well last week, suffocating. They can cover. They play a lot of either man or matchup, which turns into man once the route's declare. I think the thing they're doing the best, they're second in the Big Ten in sacks, only to Michigan by one. So they're getting after the passer. And, pass coverage and pass rush usually go hand in hand. So they're doing both very well. Offensively, I think their freshman tailback is an elite player. Really good at the skill positions, and I think the line has really developed quite a bit. If that was a weakness at one point early in the year, it's not anymore. And then the special teams are pretty complete in the kicking game. So I think what you're looking at is, what they are. They're one of the top 15 teams in America. They're playing at that level now. That's what I would say the biggest thing is they've gotten better over the course of the season. And they're playing at a high level right now.
Greg, didn't get to ask you this at East Lansing. Can you just explain your thinking on the last couple of plays of the game, the blitzing, the timeout, and the blitz? Just your thinking on those decisions.
The blitzing.
The blitzing when they were doing the victory formation.
Yeah, it's what it's always been. If you have followed us, if it's a competitive game, and there's an opportunity to create a fumble, it's not. It's always been a huge area of contention with people. I think it's ridiculous. Personally, it's not where we're diving at people. Contrary to what the experts say, it's not that we're diving at people's legs. It's a coached play. We're trying to cause a fumble. We've caused a fumble 3 times in our years doing it. So if it's a game that is still a chance to win the game, that's what we do. And if it's not, then we don't. We let the game end with a snap and a kneel. I thought it was interesting, though. Over the course of my career, I've watched teams do it and nothing is said. It's pretty interesting that you asked that question on the heels of the pro game yesterday, where Buffalo, that could be a huge loss in their season. And I think everybody kept playing there. But I liken back to the Super Bowl where the Patriots beat the Seahawks. Very similar situation. And Seahawks were firing out, and Brady was taking a knee and nobody had a word. It's a competitive play when the game is competitive. When it's not competitive, you'll never see us do that. But I don't think it's any secret that we're going to do that. So I don't really see an issue with it whatsoever.
But Mel was a bit upset. Did he say anything to you about it during your handshake?
He looked like he didn't look upset to me. I wasn't really checking Mel's feelings at the time, though. No, we shook hands, like I always do.
Greg, I want to ask you about Kobe Asamoah. Getting the start, what went into that decision and his development over the course of this season?
Well, we felt like we had an opportunity to run the ball against these guys, and that turned out to be true. Kobe has really gotten better. When I talk to you guys about we'll be a better team in November than we were in September, well, there's no doubt we are. The competition's better in November than it was in September, but no doubt we're better. Part of that better is I knew our young, talented players would just continue to get better and better and better. Kobe could not have gone in a game and been an effective player the way he was against a Big Ten, and what a way to break in to the Big Ten, having number 64 over your head. I mean, he may be one of the strongest players in the Big Ten. He feels like he's been playing forever, right? And So I was proud of the way Kobe responded. As I mentioned Saturday, we played several people. You know, we're rotating guys in, and look, when you're building something, you know, we're into this thing almost 3 seasons. Until you're an established group, which means you've been doing it for a while together, the whole program has dyed in the wool of your culture, and every guy in the program has been in it for a bit. You need to do whatever it takes, and if it means unconventionally subbing, we'll do that. I don't sweat any of that stuff. Like, what do I care? I'm trying to win a game, and we'll do whatever it takes to win the game within the rules.
Following off of Kobe, I mean, how do you feel like your younger offensive linemen are developing and what you're seeing in practice? Obviously, you know, we talked a lot about before the season about building depth there. So how do you feel like they're kind of coming along?
Yeah, I think we're getting better, and it's not just the true freshmen. It's the guys who came in the year before as well. I think we're getting better. I thought you saw Gus Zalingsis go in the game, right? Gus played his freshman year because he had to. He wasn't ready to play last year. He has improved, and now when he got a chance to play, you could see that improvement. That's what I'm talking about. Now give him another year in the weight room, he's a second-year player playing in the Big Ten Conference, and he was a little underdeveloped when he got here. So for him to have to play last year wasn't fair, but it's what we needed, and he's an unselfish guy who did it. To see what he did Saturday is really exciting for us because we believe he's going to be a great center. And we think he's got all those tools, including a real head on his shoulders. So it's exciting, and it gives you reason to say maybe he should play a little bit more too, right? If he can do like he did Saturday, then he deserves to play. So if we play 7 or 8 offensive linemen, so be it.
Just moving forward off the heels of your best offensive game, I just wanted to know what you're evaluating in terms of growth for that offense and how you would kind of evaluate that situation moving forward.
Well, we'll evaluate the whole thing at the end of the season. I said that when we made the change. So I'm not going to get into that. Right now we're so busy trying to get ready for Penn State, one of the elite defenses I think that we've played. And early on, their defense may have not been that. So when you look at some national rankings in certain areas, they're not. But I know what I look at on film, and I know what I look at them in Big Ten rankings. I think guys you got to really be careful when you're looking at national rankings because that takes into play all those early season games. And, when you get into Big Ten play, especially Big Ten East play, you're talking about the elite of the elite. And, I've watched what they've done in their Big Ten games. They really played at a high level.
Gavin said after the game the other day that he does feel like things are starting to slow down for him the more he plays. I guess kind of what are you seeing from that perspective, and what do you look for week to week to know, even though there's going to be some ups and downs, that he is starting to see things better, recognize defenses better, and things like that?
Yeah, pretty much what I said after the game. He didn't read everything correctly, but he read everything out. There was a couple times in the Michigan game where he just guessed. As a quarterback, you can't guess. But he's learning, and he works incredibly hard at it. Like, this isn't a guy who just shows up and relies on his athletic ability. This is a guy who grinds the tape, he grinds in his preparation, and he's only going to get better. And I think Nuns is doing a really good job leading him along the path and learning how to get better as a quarterback.
That stuff when you recruited him, I know he had, all the measurables and the physical attributes, but what did you see from him, off the field that maybe really caused you to go after him?
Well, initially we just felt a really good chemistry between our staff, he and his family. But then after he committed, we started teaching him our offense, teaching him football, right, and talking football. And he was very quick at picking things up and understands he has a unique spatial awareness. So that's why I'd say if he can read it out, he'll read it right most of the time. I mean, defenses are, you're talking about the Big Ten East now. There's some really good defensive coordinators that are tricky and show you one look and then take it away. So for a young quarterback, it can be a little bit confusing. But as long as he reads the right thing, and that's the difference. On each play, there may be a little subtle difference on what you're reading. So he has to know what that is, then he has to know what it's going to look like. So that's why the film study is so important. Yet there's a danger to too much film study because you think you know it, and that leads you to more than anticipate. There's that land, I look at it as a football player, when you anticipate, you're a click faster. when you guessed you're all right or you're all wrong. So it's great when you're all right, but when you're all wrong, it's ugly, right? So we rely on anticipation, and that's what all the preparation is for, so you can anticipate it and be a click faster to the read, to the fit, to whatever it is you're doing.
You mentioned the risk reward of it, and obviously hindsight is 20/20. But you have the ball. There's a minute 33 left before the half. 3 timeouts at your own 25. Is that a situation you look back on as a missed opportunity to give Gavin a 2-minute drill, or is it a point where you're not comfortable putting him in that situation at this point of his development?
Yeah, I don't look at it as an opportunity. You know, we do 2-minute drills out here all the time. I don't look at it as an opportunity to get anybody experience. We're trying to win the game. So we start the drive on our 11-yard line. Have a couple yard gain and then a minus yard play. So we're sitting there 3rd down, we run one and get a pop out, and that's good because now we don't have to punt. The number one goal right there was to get a 1st down. And when you go 2nd and 12, I shouldn't say that. The number one goal is to not give up a score, right? No interceptions, no fumbles. Let's get to the locker room, making it a 1-score game and getting the football to start the half. But if you get a 1st down, that's going to really help not giving them the ball back. So Mel used the timeouts like a coach should, right? Then we get the 1st down. We're still, where you would get the ball to start a drive. And at that point, we didn't want to. So if we could run it and pop one out of there like we did a little bit, we get it near midfield, then we're going to take a shot. Or no risk, or I should say there's always risk, but a very little risk, high reward. Not unlike what happened at the end of the game, throwing it up to Shamin, and he caught the ball. That I was willing to do. To throw the ball into the wind. Well, wait a minute, that wasn't into the wind, was it? Yeah, it was into the wind. No, it was with the wind. But that wasn't it. It was really just before the half, make sure that we don't mess this thing up. We're playing well. It's a tight ball game. I really felt like, much like in the Boston College game, that if we continued to run the ball, we were going to wear them down and be able to run it effectively. So all those things go into the decision-making, but there's no defiance on this or I'm standing by. I believe that that's what you do when you have a young quarterback. You're backed up in your own territory. When we got to an area where I felt the risk-reward was appropriate, we were going to take a shot, and then unfortunately we jumped off sides, and that was the end of that. So it was into the wind, yeah. That's why we didn't do it. That's why after we jumped, we didn't throw it into the end zone. So yeah, it was into the wind. So all those factors lead into it. But again, you gotta understand the whole situation, all the people involved and all the factors involved. And I'm good with the way we did it, and would do it again the same way. So thank you guys.